Hello, my name is Pratik Patel. I'm the CEO of EasyFire. Welcome to this demonstration of creating accessible documents by using Microsoft Word. We're going to be using Microsoft Word 2013 during this demonstration. If you're using Office 2010 or Microsoft Word 2010, you'll find that most of the features in this demonstration will apply to your organization and in your case. If you are using Microsoft Word 2007, you'll notice that some of the features are slightly different. They exist in your version, but they'll be different in different places. A caveat before we begin. You will notice that we do not demonstrate everything about creating accessible documents. It is not the purpose of this demonstration to show you every single thing, period. EasyFire is available to help you create training manuals, step-by-step guides, and provide you with webinars and training presentations to your organizations if you're interested in learning more about how to create accessible documents, not only using Microsoft Word, but HTML, PDF, and other document and content creation. There are many other areas to explore when it comes to content creation, and Microsoft Word is only one aspect of it. So let's begin. The main thing to remember about creating accessible Word documents is to provide consistent and structured information to the users when they're reading your documents. And as you do that, there are a few things that you can do to make sure that all your documents are fully accessible to people with disabilities. The two major things to keep in mind are styles, meaning that when you create your formatting, make it available in the form of a style so that the users have structured information. And the second thing is to create templates so that you can embed a lot of accessibility features into those templates so that when you generate documents for your organization, you can make sure that all the accessibility that you create are part of those templates. There are many advantages of templates. We won't go into all of them here, but I will say that when you create templates, and you'll see some examples in a while, you can embed features such as styles. You can include images that you consistently use. You can create fields, and you can create your headers and footers for the sake of consistency, and it'll save you, and the templates actually that you create will save you a lot of time and effort down the road. So let's start. The first thing to note is that we have Microsoft Word running here, and we already have done a lot of work to prepare to create accessible documents. The first thing you'll note is that we have a template open. It's a demo report template. This is the report template we're going to use to generate our reports. In this case, we're calling it a demo template. The first thing we're going to do is to make sure that our styles are in order. So we have the style pane up, and the way we created or we pulled up this style is by using a key command, Control Alt Shift S. It's also available in your Home tab, and we have it up on the screen. First thing we want to do is to make sure that our settings for our options for our styles are correctly set up. And we'll do that by choosing the options link. You can choose to show whatever the styles you like: recommended style, styles in use, in current document, or you can choose to show all styles. All styles can be a bit much at times, and so we use recommended styles, which is a styles, and then we can narrow down things here in the section that comes after this. You can choose to sort your styles however you like, alphabetical or not. And these are the checkboxes that will show you different types of styles: paragraph styles, font formatting, bullet and numbering styles. Now, the option to show next level of heading when the previous heading is used is an important one. You want to check this because when you create a paragraph with a certain level of heading, let's say heading level 1, if you're not showing any other styles, what will happen is that the next level of heading will automatically show up in the styles list. This is important because you may be creating documents or templates with different levels of heading, and we'll get into different levels of heading in a while. This doesn't matter, hide built-in names. This option of in this document or documents based on this template is an important one, and you want to choose documents based on this template because whenever you make changes to styles, you want to have those styles cascade down to the documents you create. So in case you end up changing the template, you can change the documents that are based on this template. And that's it for the options. Now, what we're going to do is take a look at some of the styles that we've already generated. The first one, and we're going to manage these styles. The first one we want to take a look at is the body style, the body text style, and that's the style that we base everything else on. So if we want to change a certain characteristic of our styles, only thing we would need to do is to change our body style and certain other characteristics, and that if that base style changes, the rest of the style will automatically update. And this is what we're going to do. Let's make sure that our body style is correctly set up and it's set up the way we want it to set up. Let's go to our body style. There are multiple styles here in this list. Body text. Let's go ahead and modify the body style. This body style is not based on anything else because that's the base that we're using. And it's applied to the type of body text paragraphs. And we're choosing Times New Roman here, but let's change it to Times New Roman. Let's change it to Tahoma because we like Tahoma for some reason. Font size, we want to keep it to 12 as a minimum. As a rule, you don't want to go down to anything less than 10, but most cases for readability purposes, studies show that 12 is the best. So let's keep 12 as our minimum base. We don't want to change bold, italic, underline because this is all our base style. We'll keep our aligning to left and single spacing. And we'll take a look at the summary here. We're going to add our style to the gallery. And the summary of our style is going to be default Tahoma, 12 point, left justified, line spacing, single spacing, and we're going to make sure that it automatically updates. We're going to add to the styles gallery. We want to make sure that the style automatically updates. And again, we're going to make sure that it applies to not only our document, this current document, but it applies to new documents based on this template as well. If we want to make additional changes to this style, this format menu is going to give us multiple choices: font, paragraph, any other formatting that we can make. This option will let us go into that: borders, language, frames, and effects. Now we're going to go ahead and hit OK. This style is done. Now the other style that we're going to create is our heading level 1 style. Or at least we're going to make sure that it looks the way we want it to. Heading 1. And let's go ahead and modify that. Now, if you notice, we're going to base that style on our body text style. So it's going to, and the reason why we do that is for cascading purposes, because everything else we've done to the body text style, it's going to inherit. So this way we are not ending up making a lot of changes to our heading level 1 style. We're just going to make it slightly different. We're going to make it a little different and make it stand out. It's going to apply to heading level 1 paragraphs. And we'll choose Arial Black for our style. Let's keep in mind that when we are in documents, we don't want to make too many changes to the font family. That in the previous case, we may have used, for the body, we may have used a serif font. In this case, we're going to use sans serif. I believe Tahoma is actually sans serif. But we want to keep our families consistent as much as we can. But since it's a heading and it's a body style, we can make it look like something slightly different. So even if Tahoma is a different style, different font family, we'll use sans serif for the heading, or for our headings. We'll keep Arial Black, we'll keep 16, and as you notice, our text is bolded for this particular heading. And align left. Now you'll notice that we have a paragraph spacing, and it's automatically applying a certain level of paragraph spacing to this heading. It means that before the heading and after the heading itself, there's going to be a little more paragraph spacing applied so we can make sure that this heading level stands out. It's based on body text, and you have certain options. So let's look at the summary. It looks good. We're going to add that to the styles gallery. We're going to automatically update it. And again, we're going to make sure that it's on new documents based on this template. And we're not going to make any of the changes, so we're going to hit OK. Now we have several additional styles that we've applied, that we created for this template, and they're listed in this gallery. They're called report title. It's also about EasyFire. They're to provide us with some level of consistency about what we create. So we're done with this particular styles option, and we can define new styles if we want to. We've already done that in previous sections. Let's actually create one more style. Let's call it callout text. Let's choose new style. And we're going to call it callout. Callout text. This is going to be a type of, this is going to be a paragraph style. Let's base that style on our body text again. So in case we end up changing it, we can go back and change it. It's for the callout text type paragraph. Font, let's change it to we don't want to choose a font, a fancy font style, but let's choose. I like the Bookman old style for this. It's a nice block style. We're going to make it a size 13. We're going to make it 13, slightly bigger than our other style. We're going to bold this and italicize it. Because again, this is going to be callout text, so we're going to make sure that it really, really stands out. We can create a different color if we like. We're not sure whether this text is going to be printed and whether it's also going to be just on, whether it's going to be printed or it's just going to be online. So we'll let our current theme decide. Most probably it'll be line left. We'll keep that. Single spacing. We're going to increase paragraph spacing because we again want to make it stand out a little bit. We're going to add to the styles gallery. We're going to be automatically updating this style. And again, we're going to make sure that it's available in new documents based on this template. We're going to make a couple of other changes. So let's go into the format menu. And the changes that we want to make are the borders. We're going to make it a box. And the reason why we're doing this is because we don't want to use a text box for callout. Because when you use text boxes are generally not accessible to screen readers or people with disabilities who use screen readers, and it makes people's lives a lot more difficult. So we're creating our own style. We can choose whatever kind of style we want. We'll use a double solid line for this style. We'll keep our border color the way we want. Automatic, most likely be black. This we want to be sure of because we want to be very careful about contrast issues. We can change the width if you like. 1/2 point is perfectly fine. And apply to paragraph. And here we go. It's done. So we are done. And now that we're done with this particular style, we're going to say OK. So now that we say OK, And we're done with the styles. Let's make sure that our styles actually appear on this list. As you notice, we have report titles. We created several different types. And we're done with our styles. So we're going to exit this. So we press the Control Alt Shift S again, or we can use the mouse to close that. All right. Let's get into this template now. Now that we're done, we have several things that I want to point out to you in this template, things that we've already done. If you notice, we have the first page as a title page, and the formatting and the structure of this doesn't matter significantly, because as a title page, people understand that it's mainly for informational, mainly for decorative purposes, and it has some information like the title of the report. It's going to have information about the company. There are a couple of things here. There's a date. The date is incorrect, but we have a, you'll notice that the date is actually a field, so that it's supposed to automatically update. We can go ahead and take a look at it later and modify it as needed. Now, one thing that's missing here is a logo of the company, and we're going to insert that logo and provide an alternative text to that logo. Let's go ahead and insert a logo. Insert and illustrations. And we did it in a previous exercise, so it opens to our folder, and we're going to insert it into this document here. There we are. So we have a picture, and it shows up with a pane that says inline with text, which is automatically selected, so that looks good. Now, what we would need to do is to insert alternative text to this image, so that when we convert the document to PDF format, or if someone reads this document, it is going to provide a description to the user with the screen reader as to what this image is. We select it, we're going to choose our context menu or Shift F10, and we're going to go Format Picture. We are in a pane with formatting options. The option that we want to choose is Layout and Properties. Once we do that, we have several options that come up, that show up. And the option that we want to choose is Alt Text. The option that we want to avoid here is Title. The title text doesn't do anything when it comes to alternative text. That's merely for hovering. So if you end up hovering with a mouse, the title text will come up. And that's not that useful to somebody who's using a screen reader. What we're going to do is enter a short phrase to describe or to indicate what this image is. And in this case, logo of EasyFire will suffice because it will provide information as to what this is. It's a logo. And the company, if people can go and find out more about the company. There we go, it's done. Hit escape to get out of it. And as we go back and forth, it will indicate to the screen reader user that it's a logo of EasyFire. Now on this page, you'll note that there's some certain, what we've already done is apply the About EasyFire style that we created earlier, not in this exercise, but we had created it prior to this exercise, and that's what we applied to this page. On the second page, we have a copyright statement. You may note that when we did that, when we created this copyright statement, we used a field, a rich text edit field, to insert this text. The reason why we did that is because we wanted to make sure that we protected this statement, and whoever generates reports based on this template is unable to edit this text. It is very accessible to screen readers and to people with disabilities, so long as it's done correctly. So this text is available to somebody with a disability, and we provided restrictions on the field itself so that somebody would need to provide a password if they wanted to edit this text. And we applied a label to the field so that somebody traversing it knows that it's a field. Somebody knows that it is a field with a certain specific type of contents, and it's got copyright statements all over it. We've also done something very specific to this document, and that is a table of contents. We've generated an automatic table of contents based on the heading. So let's go ahead and take a look at the document, the other parts of this document. If we jump over from the table of contents to the next page, we'll notice that we have our headings that are applied. If you notice, we modified and made contents, main part of our table, a main part of our document is this. And that is a first level heading of the introduction, a couple of paragraphs here and there. And then we have our second level of heading within this section. So in the introductory section, we had to provide certain other information, like what's the purpose of this report? And that is defined at heading level 2. Notice that we're not skipping headings. We're not saying that it's going to be at heading level 3. Structurally and semantically, this is a heading level 2. If you want to provide a different look to it, you can always go back and change how this heading looks. But semantically, to the screen reader user, this heading is going to show up as a structural heading level 2, and you want to keep it that way. You don't want to skip headings. You don't want to jump from heading level 2 to 3, because it just doesn't make sense in the hierarchy of the document. Again, as we move to our next section, methodology, it's a part of our introduction, and we'll keep it to heading level 3. Now that we're done with the introduction, and there could be additional sections that we can add, we have another heading level 1 section that's called recommendations. We're back to another hierarchy. And that's pretty much our template and the defined text that we provided. The last feature that I want to show you about of this template that we've added is the footer. We can define headers and footers, again, for the sake of consistency. We've predefined our headers and footers, and our footers currently contain some information about the company and the page numbers. we haven't defined the page headers, partly because we want to, when we create document titles, we'll end up defining the page header based on that document title. So in this case, let's go ahead and just show you what the header looks like, what the footer looks like in this case. So let's do that. We're going to go into the Insert menu, Insert tab. And in this case, we've inserted footer, so let's go ahead and enter footer. And we're going to edit the footer just so that we can take a look at it. As you'll note, and you'll notice that our footer has the company information, copyright, and the page number. So let's go ahead and close this template. It's asking whether you want to save this template, and let's just say yes. Oops. Yes. So we save the template, and we're done with the template. Now we're going to create a document based on this template. So let's go ahead to our File menu, and we'll choose New. The templates we've saved are going to show up in our Personal section. So we'll choose that. And here we have demo report. We have some additional templates, but we'll choose demo report. And we have a blank template based on our demo report. Let's save this document. And we'll name it Demo Report 2014 06 12. So we'll date it, and there we go. So now that we're done with that, there's one additional feature I want to show you. Most of the changes we needed to make, we made in our template. And we have our styles, we have our main introduction section. The section that we want to modify is our methodology section. And in that methodology section, we want to provide some information about what screen readers we use. So for instance, let's pretend for a minute that this was an evaluation report that tested a certain website with screen readers, mobile screen readers, as well as desktop screen readers. So we want to indicate in our methodology section what screen readers were used, how many users used the screen readers and tested the website, as well as some comments on those screen readers. So we'll generate a table with the headers, and we'll show you what to do with that table to make it accessible. Methodology, and we'll remove more text goes here. And we'll type some information here and provide a table. During this evaluation, 15 blind users tested the site with multiple screen readers. The table below summarizes readers that were used and provides some comments on which readers were used on the operating system. So let's go ahead and insert our table. I'll go to Insert, and we'll choose Tables. Our table is going to be 3 columns and 5 rows. So we'll choose that. Our first row is going to have headers. So we'll insert data, begin inserting data. We'll say, make it look, so we'll say screen reader in the first column. Number of users. Comments, the third column. Now that we've done that, we also want to apply a style to this table, and we want to apply the header style. It's a table header style. We can do that if we choose to, but we're not going to do that for the most part. In this case, we're not going to do that. So let's insert the data in this table. We'll say NVDA is the first column, number of users 5, and comments we'll say the latest version of NVDA was used because the screen is frequently updated by the users. The second column is the third row is going to be JAWS, and we had 3 users who use JAWS. JAWS versions 14 and 15 were used during this evaluation. Fourth row is going to be VoiceOver for Mac. And we had 2 users who tested with that. And we'll say in the comments field, OS X Mavericks was used for the evaluation. And the last column, the last row is going to be VoiceOver for iOS. And 5 users tested with iOS. And we will say iOS 7 was used for this evaluation. So that our table is done. The data is done. Obviously, this is not a perfect report. This is just a demo, so we're not going to worry about grammar and spelling for most of it. But we would, before we complete our template, we needed to do a couple of things, including a spell check, so that most common mistakes don't show up in our documents, and we don't have to worry about those kinds of mistakes. But in this case, we are not going to worry too much about it. So for this table and this row, the first thing we need to do is to make sure that this first row is defined as our header row. And the way we do that is to go to the context menu, meaning right click or Shift F10 while we're in the table itself, and we'll go into table properties. And we'll go to the row tab of the table properties. The option that we need to choose is repeat as rows on multiple pages. What happens is that when you have this option checked, semantically this row gets marked up as a header row. And when this table, if this table were really, really large, if it broke across multiple pages, visually when the document were printed, you would find that this row, this first row, would show up as a top row on each page where the table was, so that visually and semantically this table row gets marked up as a header row. And we're done with that, so we'll do OK. And in this case, this is going to be the first of multiple tables that we'll insert in this document. So we also want to add a caption to this table. We can do that by going to our References tab. And going to the Insert Caption. The label is going to be table. We want to make sure that our label is correct and our caption is correct. We're not doing it for figure. This is it for a caption. This is for a table. And we will say summary of screen reader usage in this evaluation. We're not going to exclude label from our caption because it doesn't make sense. We'll say table 1. The reason why we want to label and when we provide this caption is if we are going to generate a table of tables or table of figures, it becomes really helpful in generating automatic table of contents or table of authorities or table of. This becomes a reference point as a label and the caption. We don't want to do auto caption. We can choose numbering. We can change the types of numbering and formatting. But we're not going to. We'll leave it just the way it is. There's a misspelling, but we'll leave that alone for now. There's another thing that I want to point out, and let's go back to our table of properties. You'll notice that there's an alt text tab for this table. We can also provide an alternative text, and this feature is available in Office 2013. So let's say summary of usage during the evaluation. Simple enough, and okay. So you have additional metadata that you're providing to the screen reader in case. We'll save this document. And here we go. Our report is almost complete. We may need to add additional information, but it's done. So now we're going to convert this to a PDF document. 2010, 2013, actually the PDF tools are fairly good. So let's go ahead and save it. We're going to pick that folder. We'll say PDF. And let's add an author to this. It is we'll do standard publishing online. And let's go to the options because I want to show you several things about the options. We're going to say all because we want to make sure that everything is converted. We want to make sure that this box, the one that says create bookmark using, is checked. And we'll keep it checked. And headings. So what will happen is that when this document is converted, the headings in this document will be marked as bookmarks in the PDF document. This helps navigating PDF documents when you're using a screen reader. For lengthy documents, it's an absolutely essential thing that you do. Document structure tags for accessibility, meaning that all the structure that you define in this document gets converted to PDF to the extent that allow this type of structuring. There will always be certain things that PDF documents don't carry over from Word documents, and specifically table formatting. If you're going to create a complex table, you're not going to find that those tags carry over. So you will need to use a PDF tool to caption, you'll need to use a PDF tool to mark up certain table headers, as well as complex table layouts. In addition, you'll need to consider form fields and certain other specific table settings, as well as some figures that don't get converted by PDF. So, and again, we're available to provide you with training on how to do that if you like. We'll say OK to the options. We don't care about opening that file after publishing. And let's go ahead and save. And there we go. So our report is done. Our PDF is saved. And we're done with the demonstration of how to create accessible Word documents. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us by using the contact us link on our website at www.easyfire.net, letter E, letter Z, FIRE.net, or emailing us at info@easyfire.net. Again, we are available to provide you with training specific to your organization. We can create documents such as training manuals for you that provides step-by-step instructions on how to accomplish a lot of these things. And keep in mind that this was not a thorough demo of every single feature that Word provides or every single thing that you can do in your organization to create accessible documents. This was the simplest path that we could take. And we hope that this demonstration will provide you with sufficient information to get you started on the path to creating accessible documents. Thank you.